Here's a clip from the Southwestern Lead app.
How many of you guys know what this is? It's a bell curve. Yes, way to go. That's about as far as I made it in math. So that's a bell curve. I'm gonna refer to this as a success bell curve. And to describe the concept to you, again, a good thing you can describe to friends too, is if this over here is the least successful person on earth and that's the most successful person on earth, almost everyone in the world lands in the center of the bell curve. And one of the tricky parts, and you should always clarify this, is that everybody's definition of success is different, right? So it's hard to have a one-size-fits-all. But to use a few different examples, if it was money, that'd be like Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. That'd be like a homeless person. If it was power, that'd be like the president. That'd be, again, probably a homeless person. If it was impact, that'd be like Gandhi. Pretty big impact on the world. Didn't have a lot of money. He gave all of his money away. But then that would be like like the drug dealers would be over here, and that'd be like a murderer or something. They have a negative impact on the world. But you guys get the general diagram, right? The point is, no matter what your definition of success is, it can be said that a very small minority of people become truly successful. And almost everybody in the planet is going to land somewhere in the middle. They don't have a lot of power and influence, but they manage a few people. They don't make a ton of money, but they do okay financially. They don't have a lot of impact, but at least they're not hurting anybody. Most people we meet on the field are like that. Both of my parents are like that. I've drawn this for my mother, and she's like, "Yep, right there, that's me," and that's cool. Okay, so this is kind of the point. This is a kind of an extraction from the common denominator of success. Real success is achieved by a minority of people. Therefore, it must be against human nature. If it was within human nature to be successful, everyone would do it. It would be human nature. So in order to get down here, you have to be willing and able to do things that most people are unwilling or unable to do. You guys with me on this? So what we're talking about here is decision making, right? Right now, you are the net value of every decision you've made in your life. You add up all the decisions you've made so far, and there you sit. That's true of me, that's true of the person sitting next to you, that's your parents, that's everybody, right? So it's not necessarily the individual decisions that we make in our lives. There's no one decision you're going to make. None of those individual decisions are going to be the one thing, the one turning point that makes you successful or unsuccessful. Rather, it is the way that we make decisions. If you picture in your head like there's a decision-making criteria, a format, a troubleshooting system, a computer program that makes decisions for you, when a decision comes across your desk, it goes into the processor, and that takes into account lots of different variables. Everybody's variables are different, and then it spits out whatever your decision is, right? It's the processor that we're interested in. It's how you make decisions, and that added up over years and years and years equals you're the net value of all of your decisions, and you're really successful. You guys with me on that? So how we make decisions ultimately becomes what determines our outcome. One of the many things that I believe is true of how people usually make decisions is this is how it looks. What they do is they look down at their feet, and the next step represents about the next 6 months of their life, and they go, okay, so I'm looking at my feet. I'm like 17 years old. Oh man, my aunt at Thanksgiving's like, hey, where are you going to go to college? I'm like, UMD, that's kind of a party school. That's appealing, and it's in-state tuition. Yeah, that'd be cool. And then there's this other college here. And you assemble this little menu of like 3 colleges, even though there's thousands of colleges I never thought about, and do I even need to go to college? Didn't consider that either, but it's 3, right? And then you go, UMD, in-state tuition. And the world is happy because you've made a decision. You can say, yes, I'm going to UMD. And your aunt says, congratulations, way to go. Or all of your peers and your friends, they're all posting their acceptance letters from different colleges. And they say, why are you going there? And you say, in-state tuition. They say, that's very logical. Well done. And that doesn't last that long, though, the satisfaction of that, because then you're at UMD and you go, okay, what are you going to major in? Dang it. Well, my counselor said, well, which classes did you like? I was like, I don't know. Communications, maybe? My best buddy said that business has applications. Management has applications in all industries because all industries need managers. Yeah, that's universal. Management, perfect. And you major in management, right? And they say, why are you doing that? And you say, well, it has applications everywhere. And they say, oh, very good, very logical, well done, yes. And the world is happy once again. But it doesn't last that long, right? Because then you graduate, and now what? Where are you going to work? Yeah, what are you going to do for a job, right? So once again, your career counselor said, well, Target Corporate hires people from UMD. You go, okay, I could put my application there. My uncle wants me to work for him. That's good. I could do this. Nevertheless, I mean, there's thousands of companies you never heard of, never thought about doing. You could join the Peace Corps. You guys could start your own company. But no, we assemble a little menu of 3 options, right? Which one of these describes me the most? I'm going to Target because I like their renewable energy program. And the world says, oh, good, well, yes, very good. Upward mobility, job security, well done, Target, great company, you know. And by the way, it doesn't end there, right? Because then what? You're gonna buy a house? You're gonna buy a house? You're gonna buy a house? Yes, I'll buy a house here. This is a smart neighborhood. Well done. Mm-hmm. And then what? You're gonna get married? You're gonna get married? You're gonna get married? And then like this is kind of negative, but I think one of the contributing factors for why our divorce rate is high is because when you guys turn like 22, 23, you will get hit with a tidal wave of wedding invite, you're a groomsman in a wedding invite. Somebody who you went to high school with had an on-purpose baby. Then you're like, holy crap, I am way behind on my life, you know? And so round about 22, 23, some people will just kind of look at whoever they happen to be dating at the end of college and go, yeah, this is my one, you know? Because that's what society wants you to do right there, right? And then guess what? What's the next one? You're going to have kids. Your wedding day, your mother will go, hey, when are you guys going to have kids? We're looking for grandkids. We want those grandkids, right? And then once you have your first one, how many? I mean, it just doesn't end. And so here's my thesis.
Yeah. Southwestern Lead is an international leadership program that helps you build skills, gain confidence, and discover new opportunities. With professional coaching, a world-class digital learning platform, and certifications that will enhance your resume or application, Lead sets you apart. We'll show you how to turn success principles into success habits through small group training, one-on-one coaching, and guided action plans to help you apply what you're learning. It takes more than academics to reach your goals. See what one of America's oldest leadership training programs can do for you. Visit southwesternlead.com.
The way that almost everybody in the world makes decisions is they look out about 6 months on the horizon, they assemble a little menu of options for their next 6 months, they think through the logical decision of that, and they take a step that seems logical. And so every time you can defend it with logic, but what's the problem with this format? You're not looking up, right? So what you end up with is you just wind up walking down this path through the wilderness, taking what you think are logical steps, and then you're in the middle of the wilderness when you're like 40, and you go, was I supposed to be a heating and air conditioning guy? It's like, and then you go, you have one of two choices, right? You either have a midlife crisis, which is what my dad did, and you just like punt the whole thing and try to start over in the middle of your life, or you go, you know what? I got a roof over my head. I got a woman that loves me. I'm a happy man, right? And you just sort of make peace with it. You just settle with it, right? Now, is that guy happy? Probably. I'm not trying to dog that guy. It's fine. He's just in the middle of the bell curve, and he didn't set out to do that. That wasn't a choice he made when he was your age that he's been pursuing. That's just where he landed. You guys with me? So I propose a better way. Okay, a couple of things to avoid. Whenever somebody says this is just how it's done. Anything, just as a general rule of thumb, if somebody says to you, you're like, hey, how do I go about doing that? And they go, well, this is how everybody else does it. Tread lightly. Use caution there. If you do it the way everybody else does it, you can expect to get the results everybody else gets, and you will wind up in the middle of the bell curve. So occasionally, remember this, if there are 10 people in a room and they're all tasked with doing the same thing, they're all supposed to achieve the same goal, well, if 9 of the 10 people are doing it one way and one person is doing it a different way, what are the 9 people always going to say about what the one person's doing? Look at the way we're all doing this. What are you doing over there? That's not the right way to do it. Remember the bell curve. Remember the distribution of people. Those people who become successful will always have to stand tall against the rain, against people in the center of the bell curve, telling them they're doing it wrong. Because they are in the minority. It's a simple economics equation. It's not anybody's fault. That's just how it is. You guys with me? So if your goal is to be one of the successful ones, understand you are in the minority, therefore you will have to stand tall against the rain. My dearest mother, who wanted me to be successful my whole life, was very anti-Southwestern right up until about my 5th summer. And what was the difference? Well, I got health insurance, I got dental, I got stock options, and I earned more money than she did that year. And finally she was like, my successful, what does your son do for work? He's a sales manager, you know? Before that, it was like, he keeps getting sucked into this stupid scam. They keep roping him in. Anyway, but again, my mom at the center of the bell curve, right, wouldn't make decisions to do what I was doing, but that's okay, because then I passed her, you know? That's the point. That's the objective. You do have to have courage to be one of those people. So here's my better way. What you should do instead of doing it like everybody else does, like this, is you should look up. And then you should scan the horizon very far away and choose where you'd want to be very long from now and pick your destination and go, that's where I want to go. Because once you're looking that far away on the horizon, doesn't it make the individual steps you're taking in life easier? Like the next 6 months is obvious. Is it bringing you that way or not, right? So a far superior way to go. And in our lives, having this attitude, this long-range attitude, and I'm going to explain how to do this in a second, but this has added a lot more clarity and a lot more focus to our work. And when we're working hard, and when we're not working, it's intentional, and we decided to do that, right? So a lot of clarity, a lot of focus, a lot less anxiety. It brings a lot of peace, because most of you listening to me right now have this looming pressure of uncertainty about the future of your life. Almost everybody in the room probably. And that's okay, and you don't even know it's there because it's been there your whole life. And then someday you actually take the time to pick out what you want the end of your life to look like, and you get convicted on that, and you start pursuing that. And then when you get that feeling of like, oh God, I don't know how life's gonna go, you're like, wait a minute, am I on track for what my life's gonna be like? I am? Okay, cool. Can you see how there's no anxiety there? So a lot more peace and less comparison.